Okay, so like Mongoose Storytime Part 2. The first one I just did a bunch of like random shit. This one I'm actually gonna talk about like my friggin' idiotic childhood shit because I was a really bratty kid. Like I'm not even joking when I say I was a bratty kid. Like I was like a complete jerk, okay? So where do I wanna start? Where do I wanna start? Okay, I'm gonna start with the I'm gonna start with the sand incident, okay? So I used to live in Kuwait, as you may or may not know, and when I lived there, I wore sandals pretty often. I mean, like, it's 50 degrees, and you're not going to wear socks and shoes every bloody day. It's pretty damn hot out. Anyway, so, like, I used to go to the Friday market all the time. Because I think it was Friday. I can't... No, it was Friday. So I went to the Friday market all the time, and I'd be wearing my sandals, and I'd be skipping around, happy as could be, whatever. And then I would sit down on, like, a milk crate or whatever surface was really available. And I'd start whining and whining and whining and whining. And this would happen multiple times. Because I would get sand in my sandals, and I would not like it. I'm just like, no, no, no. This is unacceptable. Get out of my sandals. There is not supposed to be sand in my sandals. So I'd flip shit basically, and I'd start crying at times. I'm just like, no, I want this damn sand out of my sandals. Sand should not be in a sandal. So I would sit there and whine and cry and scream and do whatever until my dad finally broke down and would get the sand out of my sandals. I could do it myself. They were Velcro. I could have easily done it myself, but no. I'm such a brat, I made someone else do it. So, you're in a marketplace in the Middle East, and there's this little white kid who's screaming their head off because they don't want sand in their sandals. For another another bratty kid incident would be when I lived in Maryland. I was like, I think 3.5, maybe, at most 4, when this happened. I went to preschool there. And it was just like the daycare preschool shit, you know, like, you have your cubby hole, you have snack time and nap time and all these games and shit like that. And I decided I didn't want snack time or nap time. Now, in my defense, snack time were those really nasty fruit cups with the really shitty cherries that no one likes, and you just want to take them and, like, whip them at some kid's head. And that's really all you want to do with them, because that's the only thing they're good for. They taste like shit. So I decided I don't want to participate in snack time. I don't want to participate in nap time. So I took a stance and I stood next to my cubby hole and refused to move. My teacher, I can't remember her name, came over and started talking to me and being like, no, you have to at least try something, or at least try. And I yelled back that I don't want to try. Okay, maybe I didn't yell, but I just like stomped my foot and shit. And then I don't really know everything that happened here because I was actually told what happened. I don't remember this at all. But apparently some events happened that led up to me sneezing in my teacher's face. And then running off to, I think they said like the playground or something. I don't know, like running outside of the playground. So yeah, I sneezed in my teacher's face because I didn't want a fruit cup for snack. I didn't want to have nap time. Also on nap time, it was those really shitty gym mats. So, more defense for me there. Yeah, I'm a pretty bratty kid. And then she had to babysit me like, I think like a week or 2 later. Because my parents would hold a lot of like formal functions for the military. And they couldn't have me around because I'm like 3 or 4, so they would just ship me off to her. And she figured out that the best way to deal with me was to surround me by milk crates full of toys and then just keep feeding me ice cream sandwiches until it was time for me to go home. Otherwise, I'd be a total brat the entire evening and fuck shit up. I think this is gonna be the final one I do for this. Another brat incident. These really is the main 3 that I know of that I've done. Anyway, so same time frame, whatever, like same age area. We went to the Smithsonian Museums in Washington, D.C., and I loved, and I still do love geology, so like rocks, minerals, fossils, gemstones, etc. I love it. I collect so many of them. Anyway, so we're at the Smithsonian Museums, we're in like the geology building sector, whatever, and I want to see the Hope Diamond, so like I'm on my tippy toes jumping up and down trying to see in the case. Then I decided, no, I want to see the Hope Diamond. So I went to my dad and I'm like, I want to see the Hope Diamond. He's like, it's right there. And then I'm like, no, I want to see the Hope Diamond. So I went off to a security guard and I asked if I could see the Hope Diamond, and he's like, the case is over there. And I'm like, no, I want to see the Hope Diamond. I guess he caught on that I wanted them to do something besides show me what the case was. And then he's just like, we can't take the Hope Diamond out of the case. Then basically, I threw a fit because of that. I threw like this temper tantrum of epic proportions. And stormed off. And yeah. And there was some other place, I don't know where we were, where I ran smack into a plate glass door. I think that was in Kuwait, actually. I think it was the Al Saraya is where I did that. And it was the Al, no, it wasn't the Al Saraya, it was like the mall, or I don't know where we were when I ran into a plate glass door. I just know I threw a temper tantrum at some point in my life. and ran to a plate glass door when I was like 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever. Oh yeah, final one that I forgot to talk about. The California trip. I was there a long time ago, about the same age period. I travel a lot then, I still travel a lot now. Anyway, so we went to the Monterey Bay Aquarium. For the record, the only things I remember from this trip is a lot of screaming and crying, stingrays, Chinatown, and chickens. That's all I remember from this trip, okay? Here's the story. So we went to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and there's like this like touch pool thing where you can pet the rays, the stingrays, okay? And they're like, just don't pet the big ones if you're a kid. So it's like, okay, whatever, you can pet the babies. The babies aren't going to do jack all to you, okay? So you're petting the babies, and I'm like, oh my god, stingrays! I'm petting the babies, and I'm like, oh my god, I want like a million of these things for pets. I want to have an army of stingrays. And then my parents decided, okay, it's getting late, museum closes sooner or later, we should probably go now. I decided I don't want to go. I decided I want to stay with the stingrays. I decided to throw a temper tantrum, because that's what kind of kid I was. I was that big of a brat. My mom swears that if people didn't know what the context was, like if me wanting to pet the stingrays, you could have sworn they were beating me or something, because it was like just a full out like fists hitting the ground, screaming, sobbing, having to be dragged out of there. I think it was like they had to bribe me to shut up basically, so they ended up taking me to Chinatown, and it was like, here's Chinatown, go look at the pretty chickens, go look at the fancy birds, just shut up, stop crying, shut up. So yeah, I got bribed by looking at pretty chickens, and they were actually some really fancy chickens. Like, they were like the really fancy breeds, and they were like bantams, the little tiny ones, the bantams, right? And I just really want chickens, okay? Because they're really cute and fluffy, and I really want a fluffy chicken. And a fluffy cow. Fluffy cows are great. Anyway, so like, insight into how much of a brat I was as a kid, and shit happened, and all kinds of chaos, and my dog is like licking my chair, and I don't know why, and it's kind of creeping me out, so I am going to stop this here and try and deal with my dog, because I think he's gonna like go for my toes next, because he bites, and he's like a little double dog with teeth, and he's like a Mexican jumping bean. So bye.